You are listening to the Travis Luther podcast. Every week, our celebrity guests and business gurus battle Travis in a game of wit to test their entrepreneurial acumen, beat the host, and rise to glorious infamy. Lose and be banished forever. And now, it's time to enter the arena and play the games with your host, Travis Scott Luther.
Hello. I am Travis Scott Luther, and welcome to the Travis Luther podcast. My guest today is World Series champion Darrel Chaney. Darrel, we're just going to get right into today's games. Are you ready?
I'm ready. I think.
Okay. In 1975, you won Major League Baseball's World Series championship alongside future Cincinnati Reds Hall of Famers Johnny Bench, Joe Morgan, and maybe someday Pete Rose. But the Big Red Machine wasn't the only thing going on in the Queen City that year. In this game called Queen City Conventions, I'm going to read to you three other events that might have happened in Cincinnati in 1975, and you're going to tell me whether they did or did not, okay?
All right.
Well,
if I don't get them right, do I go into some kind of a jail or anything, or?
Well, unfortunately, the interview ends the moment you fail to answer a question correctly. So this could be really short or we could go the distance. So let's just see what happens.
All right.
Our first Queen City convention is the Twins Day Festival. Ranging from newborns to octogenarians, this event hosts 3,000 pairs of twins who only pay for 1,500 buffets. Did the Twins Days Festival happen in Cincinnati in 1975?
No.
It did not. You are correct. The Twins Days Festival is hosted in Ohio, but not in Cincinnati. Twins Days was born in the town of Twinsburg, just south of Cleveland, in 1976. Twins Days' sister, Chili Days, was born just a few minutes later. All right, we're going to move on to our next convention. The International Ventriloquism Convention, hosting up to 600 snooty individuals who just can't help but to put words in other people's mouths. Did the International Ventriloquism Convention happen in Cincinnati in 1975?
Yes.
It did. Yes, it did. Located just 15 minutes south of downtown Cincinnati, the Vent Haven Museum is the world's only ventriloquism museum and has been hosting the annual convention since 1975. All right, 2 for 2. Last one of this series. The Cincinnati Oktoberfest. America's largest Oktoberfest, serving hundreds of beer options, 64,000 sauerkraut balls, and 80,500 bratwurst every year. Did the Cincinnati Oktoberfest happen in 1975?
I'm going to say yes.
No, your first miss. It did not. While almost as old as your World Series ring, the Cincinnati Oktoberfest was first held in 1976, just 1 year after your championship run.
I know the beer and the brats and the Mets and all that. I miss it by 1 year. Well, if I hadn't gotten traded, I'd have been right.
That's right. All right, let's move on to our next series of questions here. The average price of a Major League Baseball team is currently $1.26 billion, with the most expensive team being the New York Yankees, valued at just over $4 billion. With prices like these, it's hard to imagine any normal person could afford to buy one. So in this game, we're calling From Working Stiffs to Banning Shifts. We're going to look at 3 MLB owners with somewhat humble beginnings working in their family businesses. For each of these team owners, I'm going to tell you 3 jobs they could have had before owning their teams. Your job is to tell me which of these 3 was their actual previous family employer. Ready?
Wow, yeah.
All right, let's start with someone who you might be familiar with. This is Cincinnati Reds owner Bob Castellini, purchased the team in 2006. Before that, he worked in his family's business, Castellini Co. Was Castellini Co. a work boot manufacturer, a fruit and vegetable wholesaler, or the corporate owner of local radio station WKRP in Cincinnati?
The second one, I believe.
A fruit and vegetable wholesaler?
Yeah.
Absolutely, you got that right. Just out of curiosity, did Les Nessman ever broadcast live from a Reds game?
Not when I was there.
All right.
They wouldn't allow him in there when I was there.
Now we're going to move on to my hometown, Denver, Colorado. The Colorado Rockies played their first season in 1993 under current owner Charlie Mumford. Before owning the Rockies, did Charlie work in his father's meatpacking plant, his ski resort, or his famous omelet restaurant?
Gosh, I'm not familiar with him. I'm going to go with the meatpacking plant.
That's right. That's a great guess. Another home run there. Good job. Charlie sold the meatpacking plant to ConAgra to get the money they needed to start the team. All right, let's head out to the left coast and see what you know about the Oakland Athletics. Founded in Philadelphia in 1901, the Athletics also played in Kansas City for 11 years before landing on the other side of the Bay Bridge in 1968. In 2005, the team was purchased by John J. Fisher, whose parents founded which famous California clothing brand? Was it Levi Strauss, Billabong, or The Gap?
Levi Strauss.
It was The Gap. The company also owns Banana Republic and Old Navy, which is a knockoff of its brand rival New Navy. Well, my guest today is Darrel Chaney. Darrel is a former MLB shortstop, spending 11 years in the majors, playing in 3 World Series with Cincinnati's Big Red Machine, and winning it all in 1975. After baseball, Darrel was hired by Ted Turner to be a broadcaster for the Atlanta Braves before starting his own entrepreneurial journey in the construction business. Today, he's a popular motivational speaker and a huge fan of the Los Angeles Angels, where his grandson plays in their minor league system. Welcome, Darrel.
Great to be with you. Thanks
Thank
a lot,
you.
Travis. I got that hat on just for this occasion.
You've been listening to the Travis Luther podcast with your host, Travis Scott Luther. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. And if you like what you hear, please leave a review. For show notes, the archive, and more, please visit www.travisluther.com. Until next time, tally ho.